There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search, and a time to give up. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from the beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for my people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is a gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it all so people will fear him. Whatever has already been and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward, and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? Hello, folks. This is your host, Mike Callahan, and this is the Watchman News, June 30th, 2014. There was a few things that I had forgotten last night. I was a bit nervous on my first show. One of the things was kind of important, I feel, on this show. We're also going to be teaching different how-to things, like how to make an emergency water filter, and I'll even go into how to make one that you could use either underneath your sink countertop to more permanently fit in, or something a little bit more portable that you could use on top of your sink top. And that that would be something just to purify water for you and your family. And but I would also teach you how to make an emergency one out of things like a 2-liter soda bottle and rock and charcoal and sand. Pretty easy process, but it could save your life. We'll go over all kinds of other things too, little bitty simple things. I've got all kinds of projects that I have saved back. Everything from little like flashlights, or like area lights, I should say, that will light up a room for like a month off of a couple of AA batteries, or I mean, there's just a ton of different things. I can show you how to use pennies, and I believe it is nickels, and little bitty pieces of cardboard and a little bit of salt water, and make yourself a little battery to run a light like that you can recharge every time just by adding more salt water. Lots of little projects like that I can teach you that could definitely save your life, or put you in a little bit better position. Going to go over things like a little more advanced, like wood gasification and stuff, how to build a device that you can run a combustion engine, for instance, off of burning wood. They do exist. It's not new technology. They've been doing it ever since World War II. A lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff for the future. Tonight I was going to get into some of the news, and we'll get into a little bit of discussion. I really wished I had a guest here tonight to discuss it with. I've got a buddy named Charles from New Jersey, and he would like to get in on a discussion sometime. And He's got kind of a hectic work schedule right now, but we're going to have to get that set up and get that arranged and and see what we can do. Try and get him on a show here soon. Been paying attention to the news today. First, our opening prayer, or not prayer, but our opening scripture. Amazing difference in what 24 hours can do. You know, when I got off of the air yesterday, I was quite anxious when I was on the air. I normally don't like to be a center of attention. This isn't the type of stuff that I usually do. And we'll just say that it wasn't my choice to do this. I am just a servant, and I do my best to be obedient. And so I was a pretty nervous wreck by the time I got off the air yesterday. And well, in that short amount of time between today and today, been a very wild difference in my life, and I appreciate it. I really do. Just hang in there, folks. You know, life is like a roller coaster. It really is. It goes up and it goes down, and I promise you, it goes up. I was on a very long down, and I even had questions, but I learned to turn to God whenever I could, and to try and keep that faith. And you know, I would open up the Bible. It may be on a phone or it may be on a tablet, but I would open up the Bible and I would read. And I can't always say, you know, that, oh, it always just took my anxiety away and it took my fears away. No, it didn't always do that. But more than not, it did. And you know, even if you don't get instant gratification, not always do you get instant gratification for things you do for the Lord, or actually they're things you do for yourself, but they're in praise of the Lord. And it's not always instant gratification. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And I'm very pleased with the surprises that the Lord had for me yesterday. And just hang in there, folks. I know. The Lord knows that I know it gets rough. It gets real rough. So I will ask that everybody pray, if you don't mind, for myself and my children, and that I may get to see my children soon. That would be really, really nice. And I would appreciate it. I pray for everybody. I pray for everybody on the earth. And then I call out, you know, those people I know that are going through some rough times, and prayer is important. It really is. And I know I get a chill down my spine, and I just get that feeling through my body most every time I pray. And it's a nice, good feeling. And that's when I know that God is listening. It doesn't mean He's going to answer my prayers or answer them in the way I want, but at least I know He's there, and that's nice. It's really nice. Okay, let's get on to some news here. I've been going over some different stuff. One of the top headlines today is the Supreme Court backs Hobby Lobby and contraceptive mandate challenge. We'll read a little bit of that article there, just so you get an idea of what's going on. The Supreme Court ruled Monday that certain closely held for-profit businesses can cite religious objections in order to opt out of a requirement in Obamacare to provide free contraceptive coverage for their employees. The 5-4 decision in favor of the arts and crafts chain Hobby Lobby and one of the other companies marks the first time the court has ruled that for a for-profit business can cite religious views under a federal law. It's also a blow to a provision in the Affordable Health Care Act, where President Obama's supporters touted heavily during the 2012 presidential campaign. Today is a great day for the religious liberty. Adil Kim, counsel at the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, which represented Hobby Lobby, told Fox News, the ruling was one of two final rulings to come down on Monday. As the justices wrap up their work for the session, the other reigned in the ability of unions to collect dues from home health care workers. Samuel Justice Samuel Alito wrote the majority opinion in the Obamacare case, finding the contraceptive mandate in its current form unlawful. The court's four liberal justices dissented. The court stressed that its ruling applies only to corporations that are under the control of just a few people, in which there is no essential difference between the businesses and its owners. Well, it's one of those controversial topics. You know what I mean? I guess it's time for opinion, and that being it, you know, there's a lot of topics in life that, if you really sit back and you look at and you think about, there's more than one way you could go with it, and you can understand both sides. And you know, there's some things that I don't agree with, you know, that is considered birth control these days. Gosh, I hate even say the word, but I do have issues with abortion. I mean, I could see it in some type of medical condition, or in some type of a sexual assault case. I could understand that there's a little reason, a lot of reasoning there. And I hate saying anything about this because this isn't my place anyway. I'm a man. And I don't think any man should have a right to speak on the matter. I really don't. It's not men having the babies. Contraceptives are a little bit different, and I think that's more up for discussion for both genders. But why not? You know, why not? There's too many unwanted children in this world, and if you know anything at all about the foster care system and all that, I mean, there are some wonderful foster care families out there. There are, but it's like finding a needle in a haystack. For every one wonderful one, you got a bunch of ones that are just in it for the money, and they're pumping their foster children full of all kinds of medications, and of course the big pharmaceutical companies love that, and so do the healthcare quote unquote professionals. They love that. It's I always call it passing money around. Anything to pass that money around. You know, so I mean, I can see advantages to contraceptives. Now, I do know that using any form of contraceptive is against some religious beliefs, and I do my best to be respectful towards all religious beliefs, as long as those religious beliefs don't entail harming others. Again, you have to, you know, I'm one that I usually don't play the lesser of two evils game, especially when it comes to politics. But this isn't politics, this is life. And you know, let's say a parent, or not a parent, well, yeah, what if you want to call it that. Let's say a woman has a choice to use a contraceptive, or doesn't. Let's say she doesn't, and then she does get pregnant, and then goes and has an abortion. You know, that I personally, and this is, again, it's not my place, but personally, I feel it would have been better if she would have used that contraceptive before it happened to begin with. But I don't know. I mean, this is one of those hot topics. A lot of people agree, disagree. I still think it's a distraction, by the way. You got to watch out for the distractions in the news, folks. 9 times out of 10, if it's a controversial subject, look around a little bit. Look around in the news, because there's typically something that's not going to really make it big in the news that probably should. So just keep your eyes open, pay attention to the news. Again, if you see something that pops up that people are just going absolutely crazy about, take a look around, because a lot of times there will be something else going on that that you are unaware of. So, alrighty here. Let's looky. Next up in the news, and sorry I don't have a lot of video stuff going on tonight. I've got to get some stuff smoothed out, some stuff worked out. I regularly watch a couple of people that use this Google Hangouts, and I've got messages sent their way. Sorry I didn't have any intro music tonight. I already got my butt spanked from last night. That real poor quality audio that I had at the beginning of my recording. Yeah, YouTube flagged it, so you know how that goes. But anyway, I've got the band the band was called Hands, which they're no longer together. Now some of the members have went to another band called Everything in Slow Motion. But the song was called "Give Me Rest," just to give them credit. And I do have a message waiting on the new band to find out when, where, and how I can get the written consent to be able to use that for an intro. A bunch of nice God-fearing fellows. I do believe that they will help me out there. So next up in the news, this was this is kind of a scary topic. Jihadist group ISIS declares Islamic Caliphate in Iraq, Syria. Sorry, my computer slowed down. The jihadist group, the Islamic State of Iraq and Greater Syria, ISIS or ISIL, on Sunday declared the establishment of Caliphate or Islamic State within the group's leader as the ruling caliph. The group, known for its ruthless tactics and systematic abuses during its involvement in the conflicts in Iraq and Syria, where it's captured vast swaths of territory, also announced it was renaming itself the Islamic State and called on jihadi factions worldwide to pledge allegiance to it. The caliphate would be imposed on areas the group controls in Iraq and Syria, with its chief Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, or al-Baghdadi. Hey, you got to give me a break on these names now. The caliph, or head of state, and leader for Muslims everywhere. ISIS spokesman Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, a new one, you know. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but these names can be rough, said in an audio recording distributed online. The Shura Council of the Islamic State met and discussed this issue of the caliphate. The Islamic State decided to establish an Islamic caliphate and to designate a caliph for the state of the Muslims, he said. There's a lot that I don't understand about the Muslim faith. It's not a faith I studied. I did read some of the Quran. I don't think that, I don't think that all Muslims are bad or anything like that. I think it's, I mean, look at Christians. I mean, you have radical Christians, and then you have, you just don't, the radical Christians of today just don't, they're not running around beheading people and stuff like that, thank goodness. But I will remind people that they tied many people up to a stake and set them on fire. And that wasn't too far in our distant past. So, so I will remind people that even though that we don't typically see extremely radical Christians today, they did exist in the past. And I'm not saying cut anybody slack, not whatsoever. Like I say, I've read a little bit of the Quran, and it's no more threatening or anything like that than the Holy Bible. It's just not. I mean, you read the Old Testament, and I mean everything's war, war. That's pretty much that covers it all, war. So, but this thing that they're doing where they're trying to take everything over and not giving people any choice in the matter, and getting physically violent with people if they don't accept their belief system. That's not right. It's not right. It's a very, very dangerous precedent to set, and unfortunately, something that we really have to keep an eye on. Um, when they take over a country, the radical ones now, um, it's their belief that everybody in the country has to have that belief system, or they kill them. I mean, that's what's going on. I've seen some video, and I don't dare share it here, but I've seen some video um, with excuse me. It was members of this group, ISIS, and they were just driving down the road in a car, and they were driving alongside other vehicles, looked kind of like a two-lane highway, or, well, you know, a two-lane same direction highway, and they were just pulling right alongside of people and just gunning them down. And I mean, if that wasn't bad enough, you know, they turned around and got out and made sure they finished the job. It looked like in several instances they took what they could from the vehicle or off the person, and then got back in the vehicle and went to the next vehicle. I mean, it didn't even look like they were being selective at all on, I mean, it just, whoever they came up to. You know, it's, and I can only speak from the Holy Bible on this matter, but it's not the days of the Old Testament. And I would hope that, thanks to the teachings of Jesus and his sacrifice for us, that we don't or wouldn't need to feel to take another's life over our belief. You know, if somebody doesn't believe in the Lord, just, you know, pray for them. Pray for them. I don't even, you know, I'll try to open up a little bit of dialogue with them to see if they're interested in hearing it at all. Because I think I have a little bit of a different take on it than what a lot of people do. Because you know, as I said yesterday, I was atheist for just over 30 years of my life, and I know why I didn't believe, and so I can understand why others out there wouldn't believe. And there's a lot of confusion and misleading things out there, and so sometimes I feel like maybe I can kind of get in there a little bit with some people, because I understand a little bit more as to why people are hesitant to believe some of it. And then there's other things too that, you know, we'll get into as time goes on. Things that I think are slanted a little bit here and there, and but it's considered quote unquote tradition, and things like that get rather controversial. Listened to an interesting show today on True News. I listened to a couple different Christian radio shows, usually every day, and they had a professor on there named Wayne Hobson, and he was talking about Spanish flu virus strains, and you know, I would urge people to gain a little bit of knowledge in the area of these viruses and whatnot. Whether, you know, many of them, Ebola is one to be concerned with, MERS is one to be concerned with. Apparently the Spanish flu virus is something that we might want to keep an eye on. Learn how to protect yourself. Again, I don't have anything so far, but maybe I need to come up with something on how to make you know, gas mask, your own personal gas mask. I mean, I've seen a few things, but nothing real good. I would highly recommend people go spend the money to buy a paint respirator, a decent paint respirator, and otherwise, I would really highly recommend people go on eBay or Amazon or into your local military surplus store and buy you some gas masks. They don't cost that much. The Czech M10M is a good one to go with. Before I unfortunately lost everything, that's what I had purchased for my family, was the Czech M10M, and I chose that model for several reasons. But you can get them. They're pretty inexpensive. I think you can get them usually for like $30 a piece or something off of Amazon or eBay. They're not too bad. Order yourself some extra filters. or you can get one of the newer, much nicer models. Um, yeah, I think it's important. Also, one thing when it comes to stuff like this, um, we don't know what could happen. It could be anything like some type of virus strain, or it could be some type of biological or radiological device that gets set off or something like that. I always urge preparedness. Make sure you get some. I would recommend the drop cloth, the plastic drop cloth. That's just a little bit thicker than say the stuff you use to seal up your windows on during the winter. So I'd recommend like that plastic drop cloth. Now I can't tell you what mil just off the top of my head. I'm gonna guess say around 6 mil or something, and that's a halfway educated guess. Um, but keep some duct tape on hand. Keep some of that plastic on hand. Make sure you have enough to seal up your doors and your windows. It does make a difference. It really does. Especially if you have a basement, and you can seal up that basement. Usually you can seal up a basement a little bit better than you can an upper story that's above ground. We'll get into stuff like that later on. There's a lot of there's a plethora of information in that area that I can provide you. It's a topic I studied heavy for a few years. Was how and what to do in different situations like that. So just kind of keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. There's always a concern when it comes to things like viruses and stuff like that. Same with the sun. There's always gotta keep knowledgeable about what the sun's doing. I've myself seen things happen in the last couple of years. I watch every day. I watch a short little news episode on the sun and about the sun and what it's doing daily, and they cover the sunspots and the CMEs and the filament releases and all kinds of good things, even like the gamma ray bursts and stuff that come from space. And if all this stuff is above your head, that's fine. It's interesting to know about it, to understand it, how it even affects our weather. I never would have realized that the sun is what actually controls the weather, and it does look like the sun has a very large effect on earthquakes and volcanoes, and very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. But always keep an eye on it. You never know. You never know what could happen. I would rather keep an eye open on things and watch out and be able to protect my loved ones, than to stick my head in the sand and my family suffer as a consequence. I see a lot of people. I love my family. I love my kids. But they won't store a little extra food. They won't store a little extra water, and you surely can't get them to turn that TV off and gain a little extra knowledge. So that's one thing I urge everyone to do is gain some knowledge. It costs you nothing. If you're listening to me right now, you've obviously got the internet. That's all you need. I won't say both reasons, but I got the internet many years ago. For two reasons. One of them probably I'll say because I don't want you to think it's something else. I thought hacking was cool, and so I just wanted to research it a little bit. But the main reason why I got the internet many moons ago was because I had the knowledge of the world at my fingertips. Anything I ever wanted to learn, it's just right there at that keyboard. And that is a very, very powerful tool. And you need to use it now because there are so many things that are disappearing off the internet. So much valuable, useful information, and it's just disappearing. I learned that on my road to spiritual enlightenment. There's a particular topic that I used to study very heavily. You used to be able to go into Google, and you used to be able to type in the sky people. And you would get just, I couldn't tell you how many pages. Like hundreds of thousands of pages in the search results, And I can't say absolutely every one of them was dead on, but, dead on the topic. But now, I challenge you, go to Google, type in the sky people. Most of what you do get up on your search result isn't going to be the same information that I was looking at. But that is, by the way, a very interesting subject to research. So I recommend if you have nothing better to do someday, go to Bing or go to Google or your favorite search engine or start page. A lot of people like that now. And type in the sky people, and just have an open mind. It's very interesting, very very interesting. Okay, let's see if I can find something else to bore you to death about. Uh, um, more the trouble in the Middle East. Okay, 'cause I could sit there and read article and article and article about ISIS and the King of Jordan and the Boko Haram attacks, which I know is in Nigeria, but I'm saying. Um, in the Middle East especially, we've really got to watch that because it's really getting very in line with a lot of biblical prophecy. And it's at a point, there's a lot of people that are saying, oh well, there's been people that's been saying that for, uh, there's been people that's been saying the end is nigh ever since the beginning, and that's very true. But there are just some things that are almost absolutely unmistakable. And I do firmly believe that some of those things are going on right now. I think it's rather obvious, that the Bible says that, man not know the day or the hour. But, we were given signs. So let's not just throw our heads down in the sand and ignore everything because we don't know the exact hour or the day. We were given distinct signs, and those signs are happening. And if you study, you'll find out that in the past, very troubling times came in cycles, and there were certain things that happened in at the end of every one of those cycles, and those things are happening right now, and I'm not going to get into that right now, a lot of that, because it's a very controversial thing, and it's something that we should probably dedicate an entire show to. Um, but keep an eye on the Middle East. There is some scripture in the book of Apocrypha that maybe I'll get into that tomorrow night. Maybe that'll be a subject for tomorrow night. Let me go through it. I have not personally read all of the book of Apocrypha yet, and I would like to read it in its entirety and to its completion before I really speak of it. I have read the book of Yasher, and I have read the book of Enoch in its entirety. But there's some very interesting scripture in the book of Apocrypha that has to do with the Middle East and how this is all playing out and what's going on. And well, to some it may be scary. To me, it's exciting. That's something I always when I was younger, I was atheist, of course, and I never could understand, Christians that, tell them that the end is near, and they're like, praise the Lord, hallelujah. How could you think that way? And now I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit wiser, and definitely much, much more spiritual, and I have a good understanding of it now. And so while some might be scared or fear, I don't. I look forward to it. I understand that now. But anyway, just, keep them eyes open, keep them ears open, pay attention to what's going on in the Middle East. It's very important. Everything over there from Iraq to the Ukraine to all of that over there. Pay attention to Russia and China. I know, that's not Middle East no more. That's Asia, but pay attention to all of that. Even Germany. There's some interesting stuff going on in Germany. I don't have an article pulled up in front of me, but Germany had said something about wanting their gold. They wanted their gold that we had over here, supposedly in reserves. And from what I understand, they were pretty kind of strong-handed about saying they wanted their gold. And then all of a sudden, just a short time after that, they backed off. Oh, no, we trust you. We trust you, United States. We know you got our gold. Well, the people of Germany aren't quite so sure. And if I understand correctly, there's been riots over there and everything else over this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because I don't believe we have their gold. So, you know, that gold is not all of the government's. In fact, I would say probably a majority of it belongs to the citizens of Germany. And so it's their right to know where their gold is, and it's their right to take possession of it if they so choose. You know, what's yours is yours, you know. Um, there's a saying I keep hearing, because I pay attention to economic and financial news, and I keep hearing this saying about, you know, if you don't, you know, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. You know, so, and I would recommend that to anybody, that if you want to play in the gold and the silver market and stuff like that, buy physical. You know, make sure that, you know, you hand somebody some money and they hand you a hunk of metal and you take it with you. Yeah, don't play anything on paper. And, you know, I'm not an economist or anything like that, but I wouldn't, myself personally, I would stay as far as away from the stock market and all that as I could possibly stay away from it, unless you just happen to have some inside information, because it's all a game, you know, just like this gold. I mean, we don't have all the, I mean, it's simple math. If you go and you look at all the gold that we're supposed to be holding for all these countries, and all the gold that the people of just this country alone are supposed to be holding, you know, you go so far over the amount of gold that's been accounted for on this earth to begin with. So, very interesting stuff. And then when you dig a little deeper, you find out how much gold that China is buying, and how much, you know, Russia's mining, and it's real interesting. And then we have our money based on thin air. I won't say what term I normally use on what our dollar is based on, out of respect. But I will say it moves and it sinks. Our economy, yeah, you know, they call it, what, I guess, a fiat currency, but it's a joke, and unfortunately, that card house is soon to crumble. And in fact, I have a firm belief that it already has crumbled. They just haven't let us know yet, because, I mean, you guys are still out there using those credit card shopping, right? It's all good. But anyway, let's go on. Let's see if we can find something else to get me in trouble with. This is nice. A Louisiana sheriff stands up for his right to pray. Let's check this article out. On July 4th, wait a minute here. Okay, never mind. It's speaking future. On July 4th, the Louisiana sheriff and a team of supporters plan to celebrate their freedom to worship as they please. Bossier Parish's top lawman, Sheriff Julian Whittington, doesn't see how it's anyone's business how or when he prays, except the people who elected him to his office. And he believes those folks are behind him when he says, "In God we trust." He'll be saying as much Friday at a rally, offering food, music, fun, and prayer. Not only am I elected to serve the people of Bossier Parish, but I live here and my family lives here. I think Bossier Parish is a better place with Christianity and Christian values involved in it. I am an elected official. I am also a citizen here. I think this is what's best for us. I don't work for anybody in Washington. What they do, what they say, I couldn't really care less, Washington said. The second In God We Trust rally won't use any public funds to pay for food or labor, Whittington said, though it will take place on property owned by the parish. The Bossier Sheriff's Office substation in Bossier City, Louisiana. The event will honor Bossier Posse members who served in World War II, recognition of the Bossier Young Marines, and patriotic and God-lifting music, according to an advertisement for the event created by the Sheriff's Office. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal attended last year and has prepared a video message for the 2014 festivities. This has to do with another war that's going on, and it's a very dangerous war that's going on. It's the war on the Christian belief. Now, I won't take on the title of Christian. That's one title I do not want, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. I am non-denominational, and I stand behind that. You know, if you're asking, are you Pentecost or are you, no, I'm not. I'm nothing. I don't belong to any group. I'm God's servant. That's all I am. I'm God's servant. I will follow His word, not any religion's belief. Because, well, read the good book. That's the way it's supposed to be. But anyway, I won't get into that debate. I respect everybody's beliefs, and as long as you don't have intent on harming another person. Um, but this is a war on Christians in general. More and more, we're starting to see how we are being forced to accept many things that could be against. Uh, this is frustrating to me because this is supposed to be a country of freedom, you know. And if somebody wants to do this, then you know what? As long as it's not harming another person, then they should be allowed to do it, and nobody else should be allowed to stop them. That's the way it is. The way this country has been guided, and that's what has been done to this country, and they've been doing it through pharmaceuticals and through the media. They've been guiding people to be authoritarian. In other words, meaning that they should be able to decide how other people live. That is not the case. That's not how it's supposed to be. Whether you want to go by biblical standards or this country's foundation, we're not supposed to be telling other people how to live their lives. We're supposed to just worry about ourselves, and as long as nobody else infringes on us doing what we like to do, or harms us, then we're supposed to just let them go on their way. And it's really gotten crazy. I mean, so many neighbors calling on neighbors, and every little thing. We had a neighbor one time that he didn't like me, and he called the cops. He didn't like my soon-to-be ex-wife either, and he called the cops on her one time because she was grilling out on the grill, and the smoke was going towards his house, and he could smell the food, and so he called the police, and they told him to shut his door. But my boys were playing water games out with water guns out in the front yard, just being boys. He called for that. If I mowed the grass, he called. I used to fly ultralight airplanes, and I used to own an ultralight airplane. If I went outside and I worked on the ultralight airplane, he called the police. So this is a dangerous line of thinking and lifestyle that we're living these days. In many ways, more than come on, we need to respect each other. We need to love each other, not try to control each other. We're only supposed to examine ourselves. I see. I do participate a lot on Facebook and stuff, and every day I see a lot of authoritarianism and a lot of judgment and a lot of gossip. And I do my best to stay away from it. If I do speak about somebody else, it's generally only because something that they are doing is in direct conflict with my life, or affects me directly. And then I won't sit there and speak untrue things about them. Just won't do it. It's not worth it. There's nobody on this planet worth my relationship with my Father in heaven. Not a single person. I will not put that relationship in danger for nothing. I guarantee that. I fail. I sin. I am nothing but a sinner. Like I said yesterday, I guarantee you I sin every day, one way or another. I guarantee you I sin. I fall short every single day. But I do my best to try and remember to ask for forgiveness. I try and catch myself when I am doing something, and I try and refrain or stop myself midway, or and God isn't asking for perfection, folks. He created us, and we were created imperfectly. I mean, it's not expected of us to be perfect. We're expected to sin, and that but we're not expected. There's a lot of belief these days that well, you can just you can just ask for forgiveness and it will be all okay. Well, I read yesterday some scripture when Jesus was more or less excusing Mary Magdalene of her sins. And he says, sin no more. Just because we we have that ability to ask for God's forgiveness does not give us the ability to keep repeating the same sin over and over and over and over and over and expecting that He's going to believe us. If you read the Bible, there are definite times to where God put His foot down and said enough, and He meant it, enough, and that's just the way it works sometimes. Excuse that phone. I'm very, very sorry. As if that's really professional, huh? All right. So let's see. We've got about 14 minutes left. Let's see what other trouble we can get in today. Probably got half of you. Half of you that are listening to this are probably going, "Oh, this guy's nuts," which I'm not going to disagree with you. Article on the gay pride parade. I'm not going to go there right now. Again, that's going to take a whole show or maybe a whole year of shows. The Pope. Been some real interesting things with the Pope. Probably not a good idea to get into that very deep right at this moment, but I will say he's been doing some very interesting things, and a lot of things that I think even some of the Catholic faith are starting to question, and if they're not, maybe they should. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Another thing that's probably a hot topic, probably not a good idea for us to get involved into right now, especially with the last 13 minutes of the show, is this immigration stuff. But I will say, we've got to do something. You know, we've got to do something. 13 minutes isn't enough to even begin to talk about answers for that nightmare. But we do. We've got to do something. Wonder if there's anything good here. I'll read this article and then that probably about do us. U.S. personnel in Bahrain prepare for Ramadan. U.S. personnel accustomed to drinking their coffee on the drive to work will have to put that habit on hold for about a month. It's one of the few lifestyle changes Americans will have to make during the holy month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. Officials expect Ramadan to begin at sunrise on Saturday. Depending on when the new moon is sighted, the holy month lasts for approximately 30 days, until about July 28th. For Muslims around the world, Ramadan is a month of fasting and devotion to God. Most Muslims fast from dawn to sunset when families gather for iftar. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. The meal that breaks the fast. For the 8,200 U.S. personnel living there, and those serving throughout the U.S. Central Command area of responsibility, including service members, civilian personnel, contractors, and family members, the month may require changing some daily routines. While not required to fast during Ramadan in Bahrain, Americans can be fined or detained by local authorities for eating, drinking, or smoking in public when off base during daylight hours. Navy officials are requiring U.S. personnel to dress more conservatively off base during Ramadan, although not a requirement by the Bahraini authorities. The Navy is demanding that the men wear long-sleeve shirts and the women wear sleeved blouses that cover their elbows. Also, men must wear long trousers, and women should wear pants or skirts that cover the knees. Well, hey, I don't see any issue with that. We're over there. You know what I mean? We're on their land. I think we should respect that. Likewise, we deserve the same thing over here, which just does not seem to be happening. It's sad, it's sad. Again, and I don't think anybody with any decency would have any problem doing that. Speaking of the people over there and whatnot, I just don't think you're going to run into a lot of people that have any problem following those things. It's just then why over here do we have to jump through all their hoops and do everything that they want in our own country? When we are basically founded a Christian country, and a lot of people I'm not going to get into that debate and that argument right now either, because I could sit there and show you how it was actually founded in some ways pagan. So, but we won't go there right now. Anyway, um, respect, respect. Do unto others as you would like those to do unto you. I mean, golden rule. We follow that good book. And we live that good book. We don't just tote it to church on Sundays or pick it up and knock the dust off it once in a while. We actually try to listen to the word in there. A much easier, much more simple life, and much happier, more freedom, more joy. There's a lot, but a lot of it involves getting out of other people's businesses. Leave them alone. Don't gossip about them. Don't lie about them. Just leave other people alone. We forgot how to do that on this earth, and it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. My life may have made a wonderful new direction. Well, it has been for the last 5 months, but yesterday seemed kind of like a nitro shot to that new direction. We'll see. Only time will tell. I don't know what the Lord has planned for me, but I know I would hate to make a new start and then have issues because other people, and that's something I've always feared all my life. And it's just because I've increasingly seen it in my 42 years on this earth. I've increasingly seen people get more and more and more and more involved in other people's lives in ways that they should not be involved in their lives. And if I come to you for help, or if I come to you for advice, or if I want your opinion, then by all means, for some reason I feel like I need help, or I maybe need a contradictory thought to what I'm thinking so I can bounce it off of somebody, or but that's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking to be told what to do. In fact, likely, if somebody tells me what to do, I'm going to do just the opposite. It's just that, and that's me. That's my nature. I've always been rebellious. But I'll tell you what, more often than that, as I get older, that rebellion has been turning into my favor. And it has actually turned into some very, very, very nice blessings for me. And boy, I don't think that I would have the relationship that I have with our Father in heaven if it wasn't, believe it or not, for that rebelliousness. Because there's a lot of things that I have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And it's because I just didn't jump on the bandwagon, so to speak. It's because I question things. I got ridiculed for teaching my children to question authority. And you know what? I still will tell them, question authority, question authority, question authority each and every time. Because when we stop questioning authority, we stop learning. We stop venturing into new things. And we have to stop. We have to stop preventing people from learning new things and doing things in better ways. And this is a dangerous precedent. It's a dangerous road that we're going down. It's a form of control. And to teach a child that he is not to question something, that is absolutely wrong. That's against human nature. That's against God's creation. We have to stop. We have to stop telling people how to live their lives. We have to stop telling people that they can't think of better or different ways to live their lives. We have to stop, and on all fronts, we just have to stop. And I'm not jumping in and saying that I'm approving of, I hate to go there, we got 6 minutes left. I'm not jumping in and saying that, hey, I approve and the homosexual thing, or, right now I'm not saying I do or I don't. We don't have enough time to go there. But we have to stop worrying about it. If two guys want to go do that, you know what? If you want to be a good servant of God, stop telling them to stop doing it. Pray for them. Just pray for them. Don't tell them not to do it. Don't sit there and tell them how it's this or it's that or it's the other thing. You can think it's as wrong as you want. Okay? I'll just admit, I'm not real, I'm not real on that bandwagon myself. But it's not my job to judge. It's not my job to tell another human being how to live or what to do with their life. All I can do is pray for them. That's all I can do. All I can do. I've learned a lot about letting go these last 5 months, and that's all a part of that letting go. Whether it's somebody you love dearly or if it's somebody you don't even know walking down the street. Two men holding hands walking down the street. Let go. Let go. You know what? If you say something to them, most likely you're just going to push them more towards that anyway. I can sum up a lot of things in life. I really can. Just pray. Just pray. Just pray. And again, I'll ask for prayer. I need God's help. I would like to see my boys. I miss my boys. I miss all three of my boys. I'd like to see them. Been too long. It's been entirely too long. I would like to see them all. And just pray for me, folks. And I will pray for you. And I don't want to get too involved in the situation that came up in the last 24 hours just yet, but I just ask you to pray for that situation, and it seems to be something pretty wonderful. So anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this up. I really enjoyed tonight. I really did. As you could tell, my nervousness kind of went away. You guys are probably already like, I hope this guy just ends this broadcast. Now, anyway, I love you all very much. Pray, pray. I ask you, I beg of you, I plead, pray, pray. Our Father, He may not always answer our prayers the way we want, but He will listen, and He will do what's best. So, sometimes when you pray, maybe sometimes just listen too, and sometimes He'll tell you what He's got in mind for you, and other times you got to wait and find out. I like nice surprises. I really do. Last night was a very nice surprise. Anyway, I love you all. Again, I'm going to say it again. Make sure to pray. God bless you all. Good night. Make sure you're one with your faith. And I'll see you tomorrow night. And hopefully we don't have a real busy news day. So, alrighty, folks. Good night. I love you all.